Hi, friend. So glad you could join us for this mini episode today as we talk about the stories we tell about each other. This is all about sharing and producing healthier narratives in your marriage today. We're going to do some type awareness kinds of time together today. I try to do an episode each week that allows us to integrate with a couple practice that's outside of the Enneagram and also inside of the Enneagram. And this is definitely an Enneagram episode. And of course, we vary it up a little bit, but this is a good one because we're going to incorporate not only the Enneagram today, but a little of the other as well. And that's a school of therapy, or you could even just say of life, called narrative work. And we know that narrative just means story. And of course, as the title says, today we're talking about how those stories can become healthier about each other because of the fact that we tend to tell unhealthy stories about each other when we're stressed or triggered. So we're going to do that today in just a couple minutes. And literally peaceful announcements today. I am literally just having an at-home day almost all day. It's been very rainy here in Florida. Only thing I did was go out for a Pure Bar and a Starbucks today and just to drop my kid off at a practice. Otherwise, it was sourdough making, client seeing, sharing some schoolwork together, and you know the rest. So it's been one of those days where I'm literally like, oh, I have sourdough in my hand still. And that's actually a good feeling, just baking in the midst of it all. But when I get stressed and when you get stressed, this isn't as peaceful, right? Because we might be making that bread or, making those eggs or vacuuming that floor in an angry cleaning kind of a way, or whatever we're doing has this taint on it and this kind of film over our eyes of just like, oh my gosh, I'm so upset at my partner because they did this or that. And so I want to help you out of that today. And of course, whatever your Enneagram type, it could be, oh, they're a 9 and they always run away, or they're a 2 and they're always manipulating, or they're a 7 and they're always scattered. And we'll go through them all and give you some brief, healthier narratives you can tell. But I just want to let you know that all of these narratives, it's not like they don't have their truth. I'm not trying to help you to tell lies about your spouse that are just like glossing over everything difficult, because I know that could be really difficult. And I feel that way when I listen to a podcast that just says, just feel better about them. It's like, hold on, did you hear me? So I am hearing you. I hear a lot of comments through the week. I get a lot of people writing in and talking about their issues and calling. And not only that, but the clients I see as well. And so I know the pain. I know that even from a personal standpoint that we all get lost in those traps, but I also know the way out. And I love using the way out so that I can get back to healthy relating, and so do you. And it takes intention. And that's why I always end each email, love living intentionally with you whenever possible, right? Once in a while, I have to shake it up with my 7, but definitely want to share ways that you can do healthier thought processes, because to be honest, the things that we complain about with our partner are the very things we love. Like today, Jack was asking me on the way to his event, he was like, what would be a perfect first date? And so we talked about like which one, and then we shared those with Wes later of which one that Jack had thought of and which one that I had thought of. And we were just going over like the good, the bad, and the ugly of even me and his dad's first date. And I was cracking up about certain things like, oh my gosh, why did he put his arm around me? That was so possessive that first date. But then I loved how he shared his heart. And we were talking about how like, with that type 1 came this kindness, right? And I wasn't seeing that in boys my age. I was seeing them literally try to maybe grab at my stomach or something and feel it, and then just kind of be in that Beavis and Butthead mode. Versus somebody who is much more gentlemanly, although a little bit like ready for marriage, as I found out very young. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so he's from a Southern family, ready for marriage very young, but his type 1 had the good, right? And we were just joking about it tonight also at dinner, but that's what I want you to remember with your spouse is all these things, whether it was your first date together or right now, is there's good and bad to each one. And you don't forget the hard, but you allow yourself to connect with the beauty. And that is where you need to land more. And the happiest couples, we call them swan couples, they are able to do that 18 out of 20 times a day, that's how much positivity is running through their marriage about their spouse. It doesn't mean that their spouse doesn't annoy them, but they're able to frame that of oh, your dad or your mom or just my partner annoys me, but trust me, I would much rather have them being this way than being mean or whatever else you can fill in the blank with. So I'm going to help you fill in the blank. If you're like, girl, I don't know how to fill in the blank, I'm going to help you do that today. And this is for you. So stay right where you are because we're going to go through these traps together and we're going to make sure you do not tell negative narratives about each other. So make sure, whatever their type is, that you're allowing yourself to notice that, yes, they need to grow in this area, but they also bring this. So I'm going to give you that. So let's just do 9, then come back to 1 today. And I know some of our 9, shout out to you, who said, come on, let's start with 9 sometime. So we're doing that. But instead of saying just about your 9, they're passive, they're indecisive, try, well, they might need to grow in voicing their needs, but they also bring harmony, acceptance, and just that beautiful ability to create space where everyone feels thought of, valued, and safe. And so their gentleness isn't weakness, it's a sanctuary for our love to really grow and flourish. And when you can say that regularly, that's a beautiful practice. So if we can now land on 8s, we'll say some of times we just go, oh, they're aggressive, they're controlling, they're challenging. Instead, they may need to grow in gentleness, but they also bring protection and honesty and passionate strength. And that creates safety and helps us to fight our challenges with courage. So their intensity isn't aggression, it's how they love by fighting for what matters to them. Now, the 7, we could just say scattered, avoidant, but instead just allowing ourselves to say about us, though we 7s need to grow and we need to be more present with difficulty, sometimes we also bring joy and optimism and just the ability to keep things vibrant and fun and hopeful. And so the positivity of 7 isn't avoidance, it's bringing light and hope to your partnership. And I just love the word light. It's all over my other business, Reflections, the Enneagram Glow. I just love light. Okay, so for 6s, though, our tendency is to just go, oh, 6s can be so anxious and needy. And instead, we need to say, they need to grow in trusting themselves, but they also bring loyalty, preparedness, this incredible commitment to work through anything as a team. And their questions aren't paranoia. They're just how they show love by ensuring security together. And we're going deeper into security together on the attachment pod today as we wrap up that finale on Apple. So if you listen on Apple, we have deeper dive pods if you just want some extra coaching on all of that. So type 5s, instead of saying they're distant and emotionally unavailable, allow yourself to acknowledge, yes, they may need to grow in emotional expression, but they also bring wisdom, calm perspective, thoughtful presence that creates stability and peace in our relationship. And their need for space isn't rejection, it's how they process deeply so they can show up fully when it matters. Our 4s, we can definitely say sometimes they're so dramatic or they're unstable, and allowing ourselves to sit with that and say, yes, sometimes they do need to grow in emotional regulation, but they also bring an authenticity, a depth, and that beautiful ability to create meaningful bonds in our family. And they help us to explore life significance. So just remember, their intensity isn't instability. It's how they bring richness and meaning to your relationship. Let's look at 3s now. Sometimes we might be tempted to say they're so image obsessed, always thinking of themselves, showing off, shallow, and allowing ourselves to say, though they tend to overvalue what they've done, they also bring a great motivation, optimism, a healthy pride, the inspiring ability to help us reach our highest potential too. And to remember that drive isn't just vanity when they're healthy, it's how they create a life of possibility and growth. Now, for our helpers, we can say, gosh, they're codependent, they're so manipulative. But what we need to start saying is, though my partner or though I need to grow in caring for self, they always also tend to bring emotional intelligence and giving generously and the ability to create connection and warmth. And so just remember, their giving heart isn't manipulation, it's how they express love by anticipating and meeting needs. And last but not least, our 1s. Instead of just saying they're critical, they're controlling, allow yourself to say, yes, they can be idealistic and they need to grow in accepting imperfection, but they also bring integrity and excellence and genuine care for making life work beautifully together. And so their attention to detail isn't meant to criticize you. It's just how they show love by creating order and beauty in your shared life. And so I know that hearing that there might even be some leftover pieces. This is a short and sweet episode, but I want you to understand that sometimes we do have that and we need extra support. So we have that for you at the Enneagram and Marriage website. So many different varieties of help, tons of pods, freebies, we have coaching, we have counselors that are affiliated with us. So make sure you check that out if you're just needing that extra reminder. But I really do want you to ask yourself as we close today, instead of just looking at your partner's challenge, ask what is the gift hiding in this challenge? Ask yourself, how is this behavior connected to something I actually love about them? Just like you heard me do about Wes at the beginning of the episode, this is a good practice for all of us regularly. And I hope you'll do that with me. I'm going to give you a moment to even pause right now to ask those questions. What is the gift hiding in the challenges of my spouse? And then how is this behavior connected to something I love about them or I get from them? Now, that will help you to choose stories that honor the full complexity of who your partner is, because the stories you're telling about them either invite growth or create shame. And I want you to honor their humanity and their lower points, but also really allow yourself to see their heights so that you don't tell a lie about they're perfect or they're terrible. They're not villains. You're not a hero. You're all just people who are growing. And I hope you continue to grow spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally. I am here with you for this journey. Let me know how we can help support you. And thank you so much for showing up today. For you, give yourself a little round of applause, a butterfly hug, a little check mark if you're a person with checklists. You did something beautiful today. I hope you celebrate that. And I also hope that you have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.